My name is Robert Christopher Wayne Weathers. I live at 3102 Central Hill Road, Acre, Mississippi, 38841. I am under attack by Scientology. I used to be a political activist on Facebook. I had a large following. We discussed politics a lot, lawmaking, environmental issues, policy, and candidates. We debated a lot. We persuaded elections. We tried to win people's votes. We persuaded lawmaking. And I'm also an author. I write a lot. I wrote on Facebook a lot. Tried to inspire people, to help people come up with ideas for their own purposes. Someone decided to practice Scientology on me. They decided to install technology in my brain because they wanted to access my mind. Scientology has Neuraltech. They interface digital devices with our brain tissue, and it links us into a computer system where everyone can communicate with each other and experience each other's mind space. We can literally sense each other's sensory perception organs, hear what each other hears, feel what each other feels, see what each other sees. They can even have sexual relations with each other. This technology also allows for the creation of surrogates. So it allows them to drive other organisms. They can drive humans, animals, insects, worms. This technology artificially stimulates neural tissue. So they can isolate and stimulate individual neurons and thought patterns. They can make their they can make these people experience thought patterns or have a vision or they can stimulate our brains, make us think. They can't do me that way. I think part of my brain that they're doing it to is damaged or something. So I was kidnapped so these people could steal my intellectual property. They wanted to read my mind, somehow harness my intelligence, my ability to create. I wrote things like Crazy Bird Comics, Environment Creation Agency, Divine Currency. So Crazy Bird Comics, Crazy Bird, Thunder Beings, Buffalo Bob, the Environment Creation Agency, government agency that replaces the Federal Reserve and prints life back currency or divine currency. So there's more space in the universe than humans can see. There are extra dimensions, and there's an inverse. We have biology in these extra dimensions. We utilize this biology to have an afterlife. When we die, we cleave ourselves. So when you die, you stay alive in your extra dimensions. You realize you're still here. And you literally fly off into outer space. You leave this biology. You lose your 1 through 3 dimensions and keep your 4 through 11. Scientology is the practice of utilizing this extra dimensional biology before you die. So they remove it from themselves and they turn it into a vehicle that they can drive through the extra dimensions. This is some of the same techniques and technology that they utilize to create surrogates. They can drive other organisms. These people forced me to assimilate. They forced Scientology upon me. Scientology is invading every institution in our society. Media companies, marketing companies, internet companies, social media, tech companies, big business, the government, politicians, government agencies, the FBI, CIA, military. They are all practicing Scientology or utilizing Scientology's tech to have power over the public. I was kidnapped by some of these Scientologists so they could read my mind and try to harness my psychological abilities. I'm highly intelligent. I have the power to lead people, and I write a lot of literature. I'm part Native American and part Caucasian. They've been making a lot of money off of me. First, letting people experience my phone service, letting people read my mind, experience what I experience. And then they're trying to sell my intellectual property or steal it and publish it themselves. And they're trying to come up with a false narrative in which says I'm a bad person, so it justifies their behavior towards me. Assimilation didn't go too well. They removed body parts and they made me start hearing voices. Some of the people were nice, but some were hostile, very demeaning. They tried to control me. They have a God complex. They like to kidnap us down here and control us. Anybody with influence or authority, they get kidnapped by these people or controlled. Some they let practice Scientology, some they get practiced on. Shortly after assimilation, I started getting sick. I started having pains. The whole side of my face swelled up. I could feel stuff inside of me. Somebody had stuck stuff inside of me. So I started going to the hospital. People around me were acting strange right off the bat. Some people in my environment were acting weird, like they had a hidden agenda. They tried to get me to do things. They wanted to hang out with me constantly. They were a hive. Looking back, they were. Go places. So throughout the years, the communication got worse and worse. I became sicker. And it's turned into a torture fest. They witnessed my abilities, my ability to write literature, to practice politics, or participate in politics. They wanted the ability for themselves, and they had the technology try try to harness it. So they have literally removed extra dimensional brain tissue, and they're utilizing it for transplants in their own biologies, their upper dimensions. They're trying to get away with torture and murder, intellectual property theft, rape, biological theft. So these Scientologists are conditioned to practice Scientology. That's all they do. They don't do anything else for a living. Some of them. They're conditioned to remove body parts from people and install technology. They're conditioned to do this. They spend their every waking moment cutting body parts off or modifying body parts. They are abusing the powers of heaven. Our extra dimensional biologies they have abilities to work on biologies to help them grow and develop. They can modify biologies. So they're committing criminal activity, kidnap, torture. Now they're going to torture me to death and steal my intellectual property. Try to save the planet. I'm getting harassed. Victim shame. Some of these people help you go back. Here's the thing. There's an entanglement property between you and your extra dimensions, even if they're removed. You get energy transfer between your biologies. They call it entropy. So if I remove my extra dimensions and put them far away, a string of particles will start coming off of me and going straight to it. Particles will leave my whole biology and go straight to it. Especially when you eat or drink something and you still share a blood supply with dimensions. And the neurochemical energy in your brain lights up your extra dimensions. You still have to experience everything this biology goes through. You have to experience its environment. If it's in pain, you feel it in your third. If something happens, if they cut a body part off of you, lose function in your third. That's how Scientology works. There's still entanglement involved. They kidnapped me to watch me write my intellectual property and participate in the world. I'm a, at one time, I was probably the number one influencer in America. I participated in politics a lot. I want to help the environment. I understand environment. It's like it's in my DNA or something. How to correct the issues of the world. That's what my intellectual property does. It is a system designed to save life on this planet. Not only save it, but to increase its quality of life. They're treating my upper dimensions like a voodoo doll. Some parts of my upper dimensions they're treating as transplants for themselves and for surrogate purposes. And some of it they're torturing. This is body snatching. The world of Scientology has become very criminal. Nobody polices them. Nobody polices the extra dimensions. So Scientologists get away with things like invasion of privacy, home invasion, harassment, illegally modifying people's biologies. It's like experimenting on human beings. They remove biology from us, especially brain tissue, and put it somewhere where it can be accessed. So they take if they took brain tissues and took it somewhere and started stimulating it, that's you. You would experience that stimulation. The companies that do this call themselves Preservision and Yumas and the Lizard Company. Yes, I'm very smart. I want to save the planet. It's not about saving it, it's about turning it into whatever we want to turn it into. We can create whatever life form we want to create any environment we want to create. We're letting money dictate the shape of our universe when you're supposed to let quality of life and life dictate the shape of our universe. I'm sick. I'm experiencing severe stress at the moment. I have brain damage, organ damage, central nervous system damage. They like driving worms through people. I think the first worms that I developed were for utility purposes. They use worms as surgical instruments. They did surgery on me for Scientology purposes, to remove body parts and to install technology. Yes, it acts like a knife or a set of hands, but they were very hostile. Eventually, I started yelling at them, "Stop." Then it turned into screaming. They were hostile, illegally modifying my biology and making me sick. You can't remove body parts from people when they're still there. Yes, that's the end of the show. They're going to destroy my dimension. I don't. So these people are conditioned to practice Scientology. They do body parts for a living. That's how they solve problems. Modified body parts are stealing. I don't guess they get too many geniuses up here. People with good minds, psychological control. Control our own psychology, the way we think, how we think, the things that we see, how we respond to stimuli. And we can even use it to have fun. I love to create, think of ideas that make me feel good, try to increase my quality of life. They experience that. I do self psychoanalysis and self psychotherapy. So I started studying it at an early age. If I participated in politics, I'll try to help people understand how our political professionals, I'll try to help them understand their psychology and their behavior. So I would gauge everyone on intelligence and morality. So this guy's pretty smart, but he's not very moral. This guy's very moral, but he's not very smart. This guy's neither. This guy's both, or whatever. I developed a sliding scale, intelligence and morality. You can be anywhere in between, from purple to red, colors of the rainbow. Green being neutral. I wrote a lot of literature. You're breaking the law. They keep threatening my animals too. They say they're doing the same thing to my animals. I feel sick and weak. They keep trying to come up with excuses why they're doing this. They're trying to say I'm a bad person. It's a lie. It's all my only crimes are petty drug use, and they exacerbate that too. They induce stress, cause pain and suffering, dysfunction. We're seeing a lot of bad psychology in the Scientology world. People are psychotic and delusional, jealous, greedy, irritable, petty, machoistic, because they induce flow states. Plus, they get to uh, evade the law. They get to commit crimes and nobody can see them do it. Yes, we need to police the upper dimensions. Heaven is in peril. There's a lot of sick people, bad psychology, bad behavior, and mutilated biology. There's a lot of dead body. There's a lot of body parts in heaven. Life wants to be whole. We need all of our dimensions on us. We need them attached to us from birth till death. I need everything I got right here on me. And when you die, you lose dimensions from the lower. You lose lower dimensions and you utilize the rest. You're supposed to lose dimensions from the bottom, not the top. That is the way we were designed to cleave. Our lower dimensions are supposed to come off. You're breaking the law. I'm getting threatened. Well, now it's just for spreading secrets. I'm reporting criminal activity to the world. You are threatening me and my family, torturing us, raping us, and murdering us. These people have developed. Yeah, I'm very sick. They have all of my upper dimensions. They're torturing it and doing experiments on it. They have me on life support too. They're using digital devices or other methods to keep me alive. I've had several mortal wounds throughout my life. They removed vital body parts. They removed vitals. As I lay there dying, they started wiring me up or putting band-aids on me or using worms to. You're breaking the law, being assaulted. He's threatening me. Get away from me. You're breaking the law. You're breaking the law. Get away from me. Get away from me. You're breaking the law. This is private property. Get away from me. You're breaking the law. There is so much criminal activity going on in the upper dimensions at the moment. I suffered severe brain damage. They won't stop. I've been to the hospital for worms. These things are elusive. They can flatten out. They move them in areas of my biology where you can't see them, like up against bones. They stack them up against bones and put them in my intestines. And these people can see the future. So I think they are practicing Scientology on the people that I'm affiliating with, like my doctors. They've done this to my family, my neighbors. my coworkers, my community, in an attempt to control my environment. I did nothing wrong. They keep trying to come up with an excuse for why they're doing this to me. This is surrogate making. They wanted to control me, then they wanted to turn me into a surrogate. They see me utilize my abilities. First, they see me in the third dimension via social media. Then they kidnap me. They force me to see and hear things. They assimilated me into the hive mind so they could have access to my psychology, to my mind space. I got a little bit of sleep last night. I had to keep making these videos to change their behavior. It says they have it planned out how they're going to kill me. They are premeditating murder and my afterlife. Some of them want to make me suffer in death. You're still on your extra dimensions, even if they were removed from you. Please get them away from me. Yes, I'm one of their constituents that they torture. So these Scientologists put their biologies in heaven, and they grew. They grew to immense proportions. It's something to do with how they cleave themselves. They're still getting energy transfer from the third dimension. There's methods, techniques that they can use to gain immense size and power. Not even God's above the law. If he breaks the law, he becomes the devil. People are devil worship. Talk about my intellectual property. Crazy Bird Comics. It's about Crazy Bird. My Native American name is Crazy Bird. So I made a superhero story about him. The first mock-up was he's a cyborg because I had devices. I really didn't want this to be public because I changed it or would change it. So the first mock-up, he's a cyborg utilizing technology to save the planet. I wrote several other versions where he's not a cyborg, where he lives different places, this and that. Thunder beings. So the Crazy Bird is a thunder being. He can communicate with sky people, people from outer space. It could be a good comic book, good story. Plus, it's native. That's why I don't want anybody else to publish it because I have a message to portray. I have to let people know what real Native American value is. It's like a paradigm to build. Thunder beings is where cyborg or where Crazy Bird unites all the thunder beings on the planet or seeks them out. Different people from all races and colors, backgrounds of life. Then Buffalo Bob, Crazy Bird gets old, gets a name change. Buffalo Bob, a Native American monk. But I wrote the Environment Creation Agency. It's taken up most of my time. It is a government agency designed to replace the Federal Reserve. It allows our government to start printing our money. So this agency consists of cabinets that pertain to each aspect of our reality. So there's a cabinet for medicine, a cabinet for housing, a cabinet for agriculture, a cabinet for communication, a cabinet for transportation, and so on and so forth. And these cabinets consist of highly trained professionals. They have to be highly trained in their field of study pertaining to this cabinet, pertaining to their cabinet. They have to meet requirements. They have to have high IQ level, and high morality level. So they can't commit crimes or violent crimes. They can't do any behavior that is bad for life on this planet. They approve the spending of divine currency or buffalo dollars, aka life credits. It's the buffalo dollar. This currency can only be spent on approved products and services. These services have to meet a standard. They have to meet requirements. They have to be mil spec. Like our food has to be highly nutritious, grown in certain ways, like using organic methods. Our houses have to be smart houses. They have to be storm-proof, fireproof. They have to last for hundreds of years, or at least 100 years. Like it comes with biometric entry, uh, a big computer screen built into the wall where you communicate with the ECA and our government, medical fields, mainly for communication with the rest of the world, and psychological conditioning. Smart house. That is the epitome of our technology at the moment. Our phones have to be indestructible. They have to last for a long time, come with biometrics. Our medicine has to be state of the art. Everybody gets it, no matter how much money you make. The best medical service we can possibly provide. So once a transaction is approved for these products or services, currency converts into normal currency, a currency which you can spend on anything under the law. Exotic foods, vacations, entertainment. Maybe you want more housing or a better phone than the government can provide, which is supposed to be the best of the best, but some people are being harassed, victim shamed. They're trying to come up with excuses for why they've done this. They witnessed me writing this and kidnapped me. So that's how we print our currency in the future. The ECA approves spending, but people also make real money. There's a requirement that you have to have a job, a profession, and be employed in order to receive the ECA money, divine currency. I never messed with Scientology. They kidnapped me to mess with the status quo. Everybody messes with the status quo. No, y'all are addicted to practicing Scientology on people. Yes, you are. These people are whacked out of their fucking heads, going around cutting body parts off of people. Ooh. There's one of them up there's like, with this body part, I'm going to save the world. With this body part, I'm going to do this. They are they are abusing technology and substances to induce flow states, to induce neurochemistry metabolism. They're using technology like a drug. They can wire up neurons and send electricity through it, and it causes neurochemical metabolism. It elevates neurochemicals. Yes, I see it constantly. That's why they're so addicted to this. They're getting psychotic about it. They dwell on it over and over and over. And they do the same thing over and over and over again. They're delusional. They don't care about the experience. So I wrote several other stories. I wrote Bug Bob, which started by I seen a natural light bulb on Facebook somewhere over in Ethiopia or Haiti or somewhere. In one of their little huts, someone has a bottle of water, a Coca-Cola bottle, empty, filled with water, ceiling, and it lights up their house when the sun shines. So one day I was looking at the moon and I was like, wouldn't it be cool if there's water on the moon? And I'm like, well, if there's water, we can have life there. And I started thinking about the organisms that could exist there. Like we could have whales and dolphins and plants and animals and all kind of things there. So I think, well, what if a whale jumped out of the water and they lived a long time in space and came down and they evolved the ability to fly around their planet in and out of the water? Then I was like, we could hook up a tether to it, drive drive the Earth, move the Earth around with using whales flying through outer space. I know it's quirky. It's something I do. I just write a lot. Then it turned into celestial beings, beings that could actually survive in outer space. We could create them with DNA on Earth, and then it turned into interplanetary and interstellar travel. What if we started breeding life forms to exist on other planets, to be able to travel in space? Humans are at a disadvantage when it comes to space travel because we can't exist in that environment. We're too feeble. We have to breathe oxygen regularly and eat. And we can't handle the cold. Like, what if we made giant beetles or lizard people on Earth in the third dimension? And we use things like egg laying and hibernation techniques to be able to last the vastness of space travel. I wrote a lot of other stuff. I write short stories a lot. The ECA has been taking up most of my time. This heaven needs help. Criminal activities become rampant. People are dying and becoming sick, and they are kidnapping third people among the living. It has always been an unspoken rule that the dead should not mess with the living, especially among the living. Oh no, we got a haunting. Get out of here, demon. Exorcism and stuff. I got a little bit of sleep. suffered severe brain damage over the last few days. Yes, they have been stealing my intellectual property. I've been doing this for 13 years. I started doing this a long time ago. As soon as I got on social media, I started doing this for people, helping people gain ideas. I like to do that to inspire people. It's something creatives can do. So I'm an empath where I used to be. Brain damage kind of fixed that up a little bit. They hit the emotional response parts of my brain. So it's hard for me to get very emotional anymore. It's hard for me to cry or feel fear. It's hard for me to get real scared. I still have stress, but this has been severely stressful. I developed several psychological issues right off the bat: hearing voices, hallucinating, seeing things, and exacerbated the stress disorder that I already had. Gave me severe PTSD. Please, then they kidnapped me and they started taking my private ideas, the things I was doing in private. I never wanted my intellectual property to be public until I published it. They forced me to talk about it and write it. Something I could work on in my spare time for fun. When I was like, I don't care. We're gonna send it. This video ain't gonna matter until the very end, anyways. Whatever. No, because you're criminal.